what we hope that you sense, what we hope that you feel, what our intention is that everything that we do here on a Sunday is actually holographic. Hopefully you can see the bits and pieces that you take home with you, that carry you throughout the week, that become your spiritual practice. And the music and the message are merging together, and the meditation and the prayer and the celebration, it all merges together to represent the truth that sets us free, the celebration of life, to live life as if we're loved. Like, how would you be if you knew absolutely, undoubtedly, with beyond any shadow of a doubt, that you are loved, that you are beheld, that even when you make a mistake, even when you utter something, even when you come from a space that is unloving, that it can't take away. And you being the very best and as good as you can be can't add a darn thing either. So what do you get? You can relax the shoulders. You can take a breath. And you can give up the fight. You can give up the striving. You can give up the seeking. You can give up trying to improve yourself. How can you improve upon perfection? And you can let go and let life live you. Let that perfect pattern of the divine, that kind of knows how to do it and loves you so much, has got you all the way, holds your divinity and trust when you forget. Do you get that? It's like insured, not by the FDIC, but by God, by Creator, by the all that is. So in other words, and I want you to hear this, and I'm hearing it too, it is not possible for me to fail. I want you to say that. It is not possible for me to fail. Take a breath. It is not possible. Well, we'll finish that breath. Here's another one to try out. It is not possible for me to be without love. It is not possible for me to be without love. Take a breath. It is not possible for me to truly hurt or harm anyone or anything. It is not truly, oh really? You guys had it right. It is not possible for me to truly hurt or harm anyone or anything. Hear that siren? It's all okay. In consciousness right now, we bless whatever's going on. We bless whatever crisis seems to be appearing in the world. It is from this consciousness that we meet and greet the sirens of our lives. We know that everything that appears in that way is simply a cry for love, a cry to remember what we are anchoring right here, right now. And we meet those cries for love with love. And when we forget, it's okay. Say, it's okay. It's okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. So make no mistake about it, something's already happened. Make no mistake about it, we've already shed a whole bunch of stuff already. And the goal then is to walk forth from here and to live as if you know that you know that you know that you are loved. That you know that you know that you know that you were created in the image and likeness of something fabulous, of the all that is, of the Creator. And truly, we can pretend to do our life without that. And that's what we've been doing. We've just been pretending. We've been dabbling with the idea that we could be separate, that we could be unlovable. We're dabbling with the dramas and the ideas that we could be something other than what God created us to be. We're just playing. We just forgot, and then we took it serious. And in our seriousness, in our forgetfulness, we believed and mistook something for being real. And it's not. It isn't. There's only one truth and only one reality in all of creation, and it is love. And as we approach a day, one day on our calendar that celebrates this love, let us remember that. This used to be a day I never wanted to approach. The pressure and I'm so happy to be past that. You know, who am I going to spend Valentine's Day with? Who's going to love me? Who's going to, who am I going to love? Who's my sweetheart? Look around. Look around at your sweethearts, at your loves, at your beloveds. Look around. When we stop making love special and stop taking it aside from all of creation and framing it and that's love. That right there is love. And idealizing it. When we can take it down, and as Charles Fillmore said, it was good reading. As Charles Fillmore said, eat it, partake of it. Quit genuflecting to it. Quit pointing to it as if it's separate. Look around again. It's all around us. Look in the cameras. Let's not forget the timelessness, the spacelessness of those who will join us. Who knows when? 10 years from now, this video could be watched. And what I'm saying will resonate in the vibratory field that we've created together, will touch someone. We have no idea who it is, but we will know this. We will know that they're our brother. We will know that they're our sister. We will know that it mattered, our love. A Course in Miracles begins with this. Have you ever seen the book, A Course in Miracles? It's like this, and when you start reading it, it feels like this. Ever start reading any of Charles Fillmore's work? At first it starts like this, and then you start a sentence, and it's like this. I say that I'm somebody who has believed that all the big books of the world are my books for some reason. I just love them. I just love them. And what I find, the ones that I bring here to this platform and that come through me, that they all work together and support truth. They all do. And so this is what we hear in A Course in Miracles on, actually, the preface, before you even really get into it. And it tells you, like a good talk, like a good message, like anything, it's going to tell you what it's going to tell you. Then it's going to spend all this telling you, and then it's going to refer you back to the beginning. Just like one of my favorite quotes, when disciples ask Jesus, are we at the end? And he asks, have you discovered the beginning? The beginning is love. The beginning is this. The aim of the Course, the whole thing, it aims at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. That's it. Which is your natural inheritance. Take that breath. So all those things we said earlier, we were denying, we were letting go, we were being self-emptied of those erroneous ideas and God-filled, Spirit-filled, because it's blocking our remembrance of our inheritance, which is love. You have a mighty and rich inheritance. You come from royalty, from richness, from perfection, from wholeness. This is our inheritance. This is who we are. And so the opposite, it says the opposite of love is fear. And this is when you know why the book is this thick. But what is all-encompassing has no opposite. So what we think we experience that's outside of love, there is nothing outside of love, just like there is nothing outside of God, our basic unity principle. God is all that there is and is omniactive in our lives and in all of creation. God, the good. Love, love, love. So the opposite of love is fear, but what's all-encompassing can have no opposite. So in other words, nothing real can be threatened, and nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. So what is perfection? We're talking about perfection. That's perfection. That's the remembrance of what is. That's the reality. That's the truth. And all we do in this experience as we go through life, and somebody said something, we see something on the news, we have a thought, a belief, or an opinion. We're telling a story. All of those things, all we have to do is ask, is it true? Is this truth? Do I know it is true? Do I know that it's absolutely true? And usually the answer is no. And all we're doing is we're sorting. We're sorting. Is it true? Is it love? Is it true? Is it love? Oh, love. I'm going to focus here. I'm going to stop paying attention there. Love, 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 love. Now, if we go to Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, here's what he says about perfection. It's a state of consciousness completely free from any shadow of negation. Any shadow of negation. So putting these statements together, anything that's unlike love is just a shadow. It's a shadow of negation. What's it negating? Love. Is it real? No. Now, we can pretend like it's real, but it isn't real, and it's not going to affect who we are. He says further, how do you attain this perfection? And he looks to Jesus, who said, "Ye therefore shall be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect." All we need to do is look to love, look to God, look to heavenly Father, Mother, God, Creator, Source. That's it. Is it true? Is it love? We just keep redirecting. That's all we're doing. We're redirecting, just like, your GPS when you make a wrong turn. Recalibrating. Let me figure it out for a minute. It might take a minute. It's like in the cartoons where, the cat gets hit by the car and they're spinning around in circles and they've got the stars going around their head. That's all. Just keep recalibrating. Is it love? He goes on and says, we attain divine perfection through spiritual aspiration. We aspire for that which we already are. We aspire, we fall in love, with ourselves, with the truth of our being as God created us. We aspire, we move in the direction, we follow the heart by never ceasing to erase false thought, and by affirming truth as the law of our being. That's all we're doing. Is it true? We're sorting. But they said this about me, and blah, 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 blah. We can't add one thing or take away one thing from the truth of who we are. Let us be like little children who in the sandbox, as they're playing, one of them might have thrown a little sand in the other's face and they cry a little bit. But in a minute or two, they brush themselves off and say, "Want to build a castle?" And they move right on. That's what we're here to do. And he goes on to say that God's perfect word is I am. I am. Notice that anything that we say after the I am is us declaring what we are. So let us be mindful and gentle with how we regard ourselves and others. So I want to tell you a story that kind of, for me, illustrates what we're talking about. Tony, you were going to put something up on the screen for me. Beloved husband, brother T, thank you, darling. And look around and thank this group of people who are supporting us right now. All right. So I'm going to tell a story. I want you to take a breath. I'm going to invite you to allow the body eyes to close if that suits you, or I'm going to invite you to just lean in a little bit. Because I really want us to be together on this story. So here it is. Imagine this with me. There is an ancient forest on your planet, a forest so high in a rugged mountain valley and so rugged that no one else has ever been there. Unknown to the minds of humanity, life goes on in that forest. Deep within the heart of this forest, this morning, a little tiny blade of grass seemed to be tossed by an unseen wind. As it was tossed for just a fragment of a moment, so subtle and soft was this wind that as the sunlight played against this blade of grass, it cast the smallest of conceivable shadows on a stone just a little bit away from that blade of grass. No one noticed. The shadow had no effect. The rock didn't even notice. No one on the planet noticed. No one in any of the heavens noticed except me. I needed something to build a story around. That tiny shadow cast by a little blade of grass, momentarily wiggling in a wind in some remote forest, has virtually no effect on the turning of the planets, the creation of new suns, and certainly not one trace of effect on how deeply the Father loves you. Take a breath with me. The little shadow is what you have given power to. It seems to be able to obstruct the truth within you from being lived. For the moment you gave that little tiny shadow power, in that very moment, fear was born. And it is always a contraction away from love. Fear makes you smaller than the blade of grass that momentarily seems to cast a shadow and therefore obstructs your recognition of the warmth of the sun that bathes you always. Take a breath with me. 99.99% of what goes on in a day. We're talking about that shadow. And in the scheme of it all, it means nothing and has no effect. Okay, for some of us, maybe only 75% of the time. Okay, there are some in here, maybe only 50% of the time. But our only job is to keep recalibrating, keep remembering. Nothing, no shadow cast on you, no shadow cast on you by yourself or by anything or anyone can take away who you are or the love that the Creator has for you, for us. And it is this perfect love that casts out fear. It is this perfect love and the light of that love that dissipates any perceived shadow that was never really there. Take a breath. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created me, in the light, in the love, in the glory. So that's perfect. That's the perfection of spirit. And from that perfection of spirit, you and I, as spirit, decided to go on a little journey in that forest. And just decided to play. And decided to perceive shadows. That's all. That's it. And to wake up and to decide today, we decide today, I am found. I don't need to seek anymore. I am found. And it's got something to do with love. We awaken. So, the human, the ego, the separated mind's going to want to hijack this teaching and has already. And it's going to want to say, well, Missy Big Pants, who do you think you are to claim perfection? And as our sister Marianne Williamson, quoting from A Course in Miracles, says, but who are you not to be? Who are we not to be fabulous, magnificent, wonderful in our expression? Who are we not to be? It's actually arrogant. It's arrogance to think something else. It's arrogant to think that we can change what God created. It's arrogant to say that it's not perfect. It's arrogant to look at a brother and sister and be critical and criticize and forget our love. That's arrogant. The humility and the grace lies in letting that go and saying, who are we not to be? Who are we not to be? And so when the ego hijacks it, and oh my goodness gracious, thinks that the human is made the carnal mind, as Charles Fillmore would say, is going to co-opt this idea of perfection, and that's where we get in trouble. And we make up a version of ourselves that is unattainable by human standards. We ladies must look a certain way, act a certain way, wear high heels, which I'm still letting go of. That I like them still. Nothing wrong with all of that. And men must be a certain way, and all of these ideals. It's as if just like that frame. This is what love is. This is what I must be. And we idealize it, and it becomes unattainable. Oh, beloveds, we let that go today. We let these ideals go, the idealized self of the ego mind. We let it go. We let it go. You don't need to strive to be perfect. You don't need to strive here. This is an allowing practice. And so I invite us to take that breath again. I think it's important to juxtapose. Do you feel that perfection? Do you feel that? No? Yes? If you feel it when we were talking about it, just nod your head. And then just for a minute, we're going to look at the blade of grass so that as we go forth today, we're going to have a little bit of recognition of what that means. So we know what perfect means. What it means is to have that focus on love and to reject, to deny the shadow of negation, which isn't really real. But the idea of the egoic idea of perfection is that we have an unattainable standard that is made up in order to be good. And our religions co-opted it. Oh my gosh, going to confession and all those things that I did, thinking I was wrong and a sinner and all those things. But the mind of perfection, the egoic mind of perfection, it's all or nothing thinking, black and white thinking. We feel pushed by the fear, by the shadow, that imperceptible shadow. We feel pushed by it. We become focused only on the results, and we feel depressed or inadequate if we don't meet those results. We become so stymied by this idealized self, by this idea, that we can't even move. Anybody ever feel procrastination? Next time you feel procrastination, take a breath and remember this conversation. Where am I putting forth an ideal that is unrealistic? Where am I putting pressure on myself? Where am I trying to please somebody else? Where am I trying to be something for somebody else in order to keep myself safe and approved of? Okay? Where am I in fear? And so we return to the beginning. We return to the song that said, "Live like you are loved." We return to walking forth as if we are free. Because guess what? You are loved, and you are already free. And so we practice together what we've talked about today. We practice it together. We practice partaking of the words of the idea that God is, I am. That I am as God created me, in the light and the love and the glory. I am. I am that extension and the expression of love. And we begin then to sort through our experience. Is it true? Is it love? And we just keep recalibrating to love. And then we remember we cannot do it wrong. Say, I cannot do it wrong. I cannot fail. I am as God created me. I am good and very good. I'm made in the image and likeness of love. There's a perfect pattern. There's a perfect pattern to me and my life. I surrender to that. Take a breath. Adjust in the seat. I live my life as if I am loved. I am loved, loving, and lovable now and forevermore. I forgive myself for when I forget. I forgive others for when they forget. I'm at play in the queendom of heaven. Yeah, let's pray. Let's pray.